morning and welcome back to the channel. So one of the questions that I tend to get asked the most in the comments section of this channel, through Instagram messages and by email is, do I need a big prime lens and a big pro camera, a mirrorless camera to get good images of wildlife? And my answer is always the same, like you don't at all. In fact, 90% of my images were captured on a crop sensor camera and on a zoom lens. So I'm still up in Scotland at the moment, and I kind of had this idea last night that it might be quite cool to make a video where I just use my old photography setup. Now, I don't want this channel to ever become about gear, like just where I'm just talking about gear, reviewing gear, and that's not what today's video is going to be. It's still going to be the normal one of my videos where I'm out in the field photographing and filming wildlife. But rather than bringing out my pro camera and my big prime lens, I've decided to come out with my old setup, and that's the Canon 7DMKII and the Canon 100-400 zoom lens, and photograph just like I used to only a year or so ago. So I guess kind of what I'm trying to get out of today's video is, you know, whether or not cameras like the 7DMKII, which I mentioned you can pick up for about £450 now, whether it's still relevant in, you know, 2022, whether it's still worth people upgrading from their current starter entry-level cameras to something like this, or whether they need to break the bank and go out and buy a brand new mirrorless camera. So that's what today's video is going to be about. So yeah, I thought it'd be really cool to kind of bring you guys with me whilst I'm using this. And it's not going to be a review. I'm not going to be talking about the settings and the specs and how many megapixels it is. If you want to know that kind of information, there'll be so many better videos about this camera and lens on YouTube where they're actually reviewing it. But this is just going to be an in the field video. So I've come up to a nature reserve up here in the Cairngorms National Park, and I think it's going to be quite easy to find some birds to photograph. I've come up here loads of times, and you get all sorts: coal tits, great tits, chaffinch, woodpeckers, and occasionally red squirrels too. And if we're really lucky, because we're up here in the winter, there's a chance of seeing one very, very special bird indeed, and that's the crested tit. So I'm going to stop talking, make my way up to where I usually find the birds, where they've got some feeders out, and we'll start shooting. I absolutely love this spot. It's awesome. There's just so many birds here. It just makes kind of photographing smaller birds quite easy. Well, a lot easier than it normally would be if you were just out in your garden or just wandering around the forest, because in the winter time they put feeders up, so the birds get really used to just you know, feeding in front of people. And actually, if you come along and you bring some peanuts and you're patient, occasionally, there you go, they feed out of your hand. Feeding wildlife isn't something that, you know, I really want to kind of get into discussing on this page, but as the RSPB reserve up here already feeds them, these coal tits are so used to people that, like you just seen, they'll actually just come down and say hello. So it makes getting images a lot easier. It is a bit overcast today. It's very, very windy, so there's quite a bit of movement. So the feathers on the birds are moving quite a bit. There's not that much light, so it is really putting this camera through its paces. But I'm really enjoying it. It's nice to be shooting with it again. I'll tell you what I like the most. The fact that I can just handhold and shoot. Like, I love that. So with my other setup, I pretty much always, unless I'm photographing something that's ground level and I can be lying on the floor, I pretty much always have to use a tripod. So it is a real treat using this. I think I'm going to get back to photographing some of these birds, but hello. Amazing, isn't it? See, these are all the reasons why I absolutely love Scotland, and the view that I'm looking out over is incredible too. So I'll show you that now because it's absolutely stunning. So many birds here, and what I've decided to do is get low, just so that I can really throw the background out of focus. So the birds are kind of coming down, landing on this path, and the background's really, really far away. So that's the approach I've kind of gone for, but I have no idea where they're about to land. So by the time you like frame one up, it's moved. So it is tricky, but it's really, really good fun. I'll keep trying, there's so many birds. Well, that was really good fun. I'm going to call it a day because, well, you can probably tell by my nose, I'm pretty cold. And yeah, I think I'm going to go to the pub and warm up. But yeah, it was really good. So, I mean, I'm not going to know until I get back down to Devon and look at the images on the computer. So strange. So a bird just landed on my head. I don't know if you noticed that. If not, just rewind it, because just as I was like looking down, I just felt something, and one of the birds, that's madness. So as I was saying, yeah, I'm not going to know about the images in terms of like the quality until I get back and put them on the computer. But from what I can tell, they look fine, and we've got a really overcast, windy day today. So kind of like the perfect day to put this camera through its paces again. I really enjoyed it. It's so versatile, just being able to zoom in and out. And it's also just nice, as I've mentioned more than once, just like the weight of it. As ever, I'll pop the images up at the end of this video. Oh, I also should say that all of the footage from today, other than these pieces to camera, has been filmed on the 7D Mark II. So all of the B-roll and the wildlife footage was filmed on this camera as well. So it's not just about the images, it's also the video footage. But yeah, really enjoyed using it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. Let me know in the comments if you're familiar with this setup, or if you just want to say hello, and subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see you all on the next one.